Hey, the internet, y'all got us all the way up. We met that dude, Duke the Jeweler, the night before. We was gambling. The next day, dude followed us to the concert. When we left out the concert, we under the garage. Dude went to his car by himself and walked down to the parking lot. That's when somebody tried to kill.
He's the one that's tied to the dude that makes the loaded dice. Right? Check the play out. All entertainers, when you go to Houston, stay away from J. Prince Jr. The whole play going on. Here go the play right here.
New evidence linking Boosie and J. Prince Jr. to the setup of Duke the Jeweler, who was shot dead in Houston during a high-stakes dice game, was reportedly released by 50 Cent, shocking the internet. According to reports, the compromised files contain timestamps indicating planned movements on the night of the murder, odd text exchanges, and surveillance screenshots. The overwhelming number of individuals calling for justice, as evidenced by the incredible amount of followers that hashtags like #justice for Duke gained. The growing evidence is receiving a lot of attention, even though Boosie and J. Prince Jr. have remained silent. There might be a significant change in the unresolved case if these facts are true. Blood-stained dice rolled on the velvet table. Only one man would make it through the night, despite the fact that everyone in the room was smiling. The jeweler Duke did not die penniless. He perished surrounded by wolves with fierce grins and secret goals. Federal investigators are not unfamiliar with the blood that Mob Ty is currently handling. This theft was accomplished. Duke was assassinated by people he had once dabbed up minutes earlier at a drunken hosted dice game, not by unidentified assailants in a dim alley. The smiles vanished in an instant, and perhaps the same hands that had once embraced also sent coded warnings. People who were there that night are now perspiring. Supervised by the federal government. 50 Cent, too. He will not be silent. By reposting screenshots, receipts, and enigmatic captions that imply Duke's death was planned rather than happening at random, he is stoking the flames. It's more unsettling because of it. Duke had shut down the table at a J just 2 weeks prior to Takeoff's untimely death during another dice game. Prince Jr., the similarities are unsettling. When the wrong man prevails, it appears that gunshots will follow. Boosie, J. Prince Jr., Lil Cam, and the circle of mob connections are still under investigation. What began as rumors has now become official federal heat. However, how could a fun dice game turn into a death sentence? We have to go back in time to understand that Duke the Jeweler appeared to be unbeatable at first appearance. Before the stakes died, a self-made Chicago native was full of success. Duke the Jeweler was more than just a streetwise superstar. In the jewelry business, he was known for creating unique pieces for affluent clients, not just YouTubers or SoundCloud aspirants. His customers included influential rappers and wealthy CEOs. This was not a vacation excursion to Houston. Insiders said it was just business. Duke was asked directly by Boosie to confidently discuss a new, expensive custom order. The Duke headed south after packing pricey diamond sets into his $1 million Louis Vuitton bag. Duke was unaware that this trip might turn out to be more of a setup than a sale. As his last hours drew near, even he did not realize the actual ominousness of the background. That night, it was more than simply a pleasant game of dice. The table was part of a fabricated setup, according to leaked audio made public by the Deep Street intelligence organization WAC 100, according to WAC. J. These days, Prince Jr.'s circuit is known as a loaded dice circuit. The same three people are always involved in this small street activity. Big Capri, Lil Cam, and a man just contacted Volf, as though passing holy objects. These three control the game's flow by rotating the dice. The pattern is straightforward. Unless the dice fall into the wrong hands, the house always wins.
Duke
Disobeyed the rules that evening. After rolling the altered dice and catching the rotation slip, he quickly began to win. He destroyed thousands with hits that were small, huge, and colossal. The space changed. The smiles disappeared. If you breach a system that was put in place, don't laugh it off. They hold on tighter. After that, there was chaos. According to street insiders and longtime watchers, Jay, according to rumors, Prince Jr. keeps 30% of the money made from each dice game.
Some dudes tried to rob him. Some dudes tried to rob him. See, some dudes that tried to rob me and walked off by himself, bro. I had just met dude yesterday. Try to rob dude. Dude must ain't get up.
Duke's massive wins weren't the result of pure luck. He was spending all the money he had made that night. In a system that finds every dollar before it is earned, that type of rage is not disregarded. Duke also distributed his earnings to others. He shone brightly, keeping his admirers updated at every stage. He laughed confidently, threw out bundles like flyers, was constantly shooting on Instagram, and was wrapped in jewels. However, the most unsettling hints are revealed in the video. Slowing down the video from that evening allows you to hear Boosie's tiny, inaudible whistle. Harmless until you see what occurs. His nephew's head turns and he looks directly at Duke. The nephew's arm is then gently tapped by a man wearing a red sweatshirt. An extra gesture that, until viewed in the context of the larger picture, might not mean anything. In a matter of seconds, the room's energy shifts. Duke quickly grows weary of laughter. It was no longer amusing when the dice struck the table. The shift in weight is almost palpable, as if the air had become heavier. A countdown akin to someone clandestinely formulating a scheme. Duke the jeweler disappeared a few minutes later. Execution, not a quiet departure. This raises the question of whether this was a ploy to pass for a dice game, or more eyebrows are raised by a second layer. Boosie, a multimillionaire with decades of experience in the field, used more than $1 million in ice and no obvious security to entice a well-known visitor into a dice game in a place like Houston. That was either a mistake or a purposeful action? And what had happened to Jay's purported protection, Junior Prince? Why was a jeweler from out of town who was known for carrying heavy items unprotected? These are not only hypothetical questions. Their red flags, which were now focused on mafia connections, were aimed directly at the government's attention. However, Bowie's visage did not exude innocence when he first appeared following Duke's passing. He was pale, distracted and anxious, as if someone had just witnessed a plan go awry. For federal investigators already interested in Bowie because of unrelated legal issues, there was more than enough. However, following Duke's passing, the federal government made the decision to turn this matter into a distinct federal homicide. Investigation. There won't be any more delays or detours. The only goal is to kill Duke the jeweler. Finding Duke's last cell phone activity was the Fed's first significant action. The last place his phone rang was Bowie's recording studio. And someone from Boosie's crew had it, unless Duke's phone somehow found its way there. It wasn't the best looking. To make matters worse, the person who stole the phone made no effort to erase it or dispose of it. It just went dark after that. Ping, indicating that it was probably switched off intentionally. In addition to creating suspicions, this infuriated federal agents who don't tolerate carelessness. After a thorough forensic analysis of Duke's rented automobile, They discovered the incriminating fingerprints of Boosie's nephew and cousin. The scheme no longer appeared to be a random act of violence, but rather a well-planned operation. Then the witness appeared, who just so happened to be smoking outside the premises. Investigators were informed by this witness that they noticed Duke appear at ease as he walked alone toward his automobile.
Nice. But nevertheless, to all the entertainers, you know, Dukes of Hazzard was one of my favorite shows, right? I don't know if y'all watched it. I was thinking about Daisy Dukes for a reason. I don't know why I said that. You know, one might go with it, may not go with it, but I don't know. The math is math and let it math. But entertainers, beware of Jay Prince Jr. when he talked about let's go shoot some dice. Because the loaded dice crew of 3 Cam Wolf and Big Caprice. We know Lil Cam in there because I believe somehow, some way he was caught up in the dice situation. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I don't know what's going on. But what I do know this, Jay Prince Jr. got a whole thing that when y'all come into town, hold on, bro. Didn't they say Fifth Ward earlier that day shooting dice?
Yep, that's a fact. That word been out, Wet. That word been out. We been got that memo.
And then, so I've been getting hit all day, and it got to the point at the thing, Quavo like, that into dice. That's what this nigga Jay Prince Jr., boy, these niggas got all kind of shit going on down there. They say, he said the jeweler nigga got past the dice. He didn't even know the motherfuckers was loaded. He didn't think he hit. These niggas is mad as a motherfucker. They like, nigga, how you pass this?
Suddenly, though, as if he had been waiting for it, Boosie's nephew emerged from the darkness. The witness said Duke sensed something wasn't quite right. To defend himself, he apparently swung first, but it was too late. Boo's nephew allegedly squeezed the trigger with a single move. Then the most terrible event occurs. There was no attempt at robbery. No cash or valuables were stolen. Duke's possessions were left on him. There was no robbery there. I became silent after that. Additionally, the team made no effort to conceal the evidence. The luggage was then retained by them. It goes beyond simple carelessness. It's conceit. Who else could immediately see through that conceit? According to witnesses, 50 Cent immediately began spreading rumors and subliminal warnings. Because the same unwritten rule usually applies when someone from outside Houston's dice scene shows up. Don't forget to check in, and someone else is looking if you're not. Despite not being mentioned in any contract or handbook, it is understood. The unwritten law of the streets in Houston. It might be wise to get in touch with Jay Prince Jr. and his mob connections if you are a passing athlete, influencer, or artist. For years, the silent specter of that regulation has hung over us. However, the truth is starting to show. But what if the people you are meant to check in with are trying to kill you as well? Duke attended a dice game that Jay hosted. Prince Jr. He was also in charge of the notorious dice session that resulted in Takeoff's downfall. On 2 separate evenings, both men departed in body bags.